Hey, Tyra, nice to see you also. After only, I think, 15 minutes later.
Yes, sir. Good to see you too.
Welcome back.
I'll pop on.
Welcome, everyone. We'll be getting started shortly. As people continue to filter in, feel free to turn your camera on, or if you prefer to have your camera off, feel free to do that as well. It looks like the general consensus is to have cameras off today. And I'll just take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Andrew. I will be the facilitator tonight. And I want to just thank everyone for showing up, for attending our session tonight, which is titled How to Get Started as a Small Business. We have two presenters today that have a wealth of knowledge in this area, and they're going to be sharing some insights with everybody tonight. So hopefully you all enjoy the conversation. Feel free to write down any questions that you may have, because we will have Q&A toward the end of our session. And we definitely want to open it up for Q&A and give you all an opportunity to ask questions to our presenters. And if you don't know where you are today, this is our third session for our Black Business Rising Summit. So welcome. And the session today is how to get started as a small business. I know everybody signed up to attend this session, but if you just so happen to stop by randomly, welcome. And we thank you all for joining us today. We also have other sessions happening this week. And we would love for folks to attend those as well. And so our next session after today will be tomorrow from 6 to 8. That will also be virtual. And that is how to certify your business with the City of Austin. And again, that one is virtual as well. And you can also find the registration information online at the Black Leaders Collective website. And would one of my other hosts and facilitators be able to drop that? Oh, I think it's, I already see it in the chat. So if you want to register for other sessions, feel free to find that information in the chat. Okay, we're going to be getting started shortly. Just going to give everybody another couple of minutes before we kick things off. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Thank you, Angela, for the one person. I guess Angela's the only one that's doing good today.
The night shift.
It did rain today, so. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started because we have two presenters tonight. I don't want to delay us getting started any longer. Again, my name is Andrew. I am your facilitator today. I'm happy to be here and happy to be a part of this amazing series. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight's session. We're going to talk about how to get started as a small business. And this Black Business Rising Summit started last week, and this is our third session. I'd like to just thank all of our participants, all of the folks who helped, put this together, everyone who was involved in the planning process. I'd like to also thank our presenters tonight, who I'll introduce shortly. However, as I mentioned earlier, you can go online to the Black Leaders Collective website, and also you can look in the chat to register for other sessions. And there's been a lot of great conversation and a lot of information shared over the last week. And I'm super excited to just hear some of the insights that are going to be shared tonight. And feel free to share these sessions with friends, colleagues. This is open to anyone. And so just a little bit of background before I turn it over to our panelists, just about myself. I work for JPMorgan Chase as a banker. So I work in the banking industry, and I serve on the investment and retail banking side. And I also own a consulting company, financial consulting and coaching LLC. So I do a lot of financial racial equity, hosting presentations, workshops, and really just trying to educate our community as far as like the importance of investing and the different topics surrounding money management. And I'm happy to, partner with BLC and other organizations to lead out, different or be a part of different conversations surrounding, investment education, financial literacy, and just overall, our educating our community as far as financial health and wellness. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our panel or our presenters tonight. And I'll just share a little bit about our session. So we have Danny Brewer with the City of Austin Small Business Division, and we have Reve Crayton with the Financial Services Department. So tonight we're going to have Mr. Brewer present first, and I'll kind of set the stage for Mr. Brewer. He is a business coach and a trainer with the City of Austin Small Business Division. He assists local entrepreneurs with gathering resources to successfully launch their business. And he has nearly 9 years of experience with local small businesses. So he's done a lot of work helping small business owners. And he's doing a lot of work with the city. I'll also introduce Ms. Crayton. Ms. Crayton used to lead the Financial Services Help Desk, which includes the city's vendor registration program. However, she recently joined the Financial Services Department team and is doing great things over there. She has worked with the City of Austin for nearly 17 years. So she definitely has a ton of experience and a ton of knowledge. So feel free to jot down any questions for both of them because they both have a lot of institutional knowledge to share. So I will hand it off to Mr. Brewer and let him take it from here. And thank you for being a part of this session. And we are extremely grateful and look forward to everything that you have to share tonight.
All right. Thank you so much for the kind words, Andrew. Thanks everyone for coming out today. And I am going to share my screen. All right, can everybody see that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, probably did it wrong. How about now? Good to go.
Yes, I can see.
All right, thank you. Well, like Andrew said, my name's Danny Brewer. I'm with the City of Austin Small Business Division. How many knew that the City of Austin had a small business division? We are here, oh, Andrew did. We are here for our small business community, the backbone of any successful economy. Whether you come to Austin, Dallas, Chicago, New York, is its small business community. If we didn't have small businesses, our economy would go in the dumps. We need our small businesses, and we provide services to ensure that our small businesses are successful. This presentation right here, BizAid Business Orientation, we do this twice a month, one in person and one virtual. The next one coming up is Tuesday. Typically, the sessions will last about an hour and a half. I will give you the synopsis, the 30-minute synopsis. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can ask me at a later time. So we're going to run through these slides. The agenda, yeah, like I said earlier, City of Austin Small Business Division, we're part of economic development. These are the 6 divisions that make up economic development. If you wonder where we're at in the city, we're not downtown City Hall anymore. We're at 5202 East Ben White. That's over by the Mexican consulate on the east side of Austin. We approximately have about 70 individuals that make up our department. So with few, we do a lot of work. Next is considerations. Has everyone's here because they're thinking about starting a business, or maybe have already started a business. Here are some considerations we put down. There's considerations for everyone, depending on where we're at in our life, what we're trying to achieve. But we put down passion, experience, and network. So passion, are we passionate about our product or service? Passionate about being our own boss, making our own decisions, making our own money. Very two big passions right there. Experience in that industry. Do we have experience to be successful in that industry? And there's also experience that we need for business acumen. Are we hiring, firing people? Are we going to do a business plan? Are we doing the bookkeeping, marketing, so we can build our business acumen. And there's ways we can do that. That is no charge. You can pay a little bit and take other classes. What I'm talking about, business classes, and there's a wealth of business classes here where you can build your business acumen. And lastly is network. And there's an old adage, your net worth is your network. So if you haven't heard this one, so what that means is we want to get out and meet people, especially when we're starting that small business. We want to get out and hand out our business cards. We want to meet people, get those referrals going so people can know about our business. So a little bit about our services here at the City of Austin Small Business Division. We have this orientation. So if you're looking to start a business, or if you're an existing business, you can take this orientation. We have it recorded. We'll count this session as a Biz Aid session. Like I said, two times a month, one webinar, one in person. The in-person session is at 5202 East Bend White. We also have a Biz Open commercial property requirements. If you're looking to start a physical location and you want to know the permitting, zoning rules, the regulation, what you need to do, who you need to see, what you can do before you can start a business. I found a property and I want to know the zoning. How do I find out the zoning? Okay, I know the zoning. Can I open my restaurant there? What what zonings do I need to open a restaurant? We give you all the tools that you can do a lot of this yourself. But before you sign a lease, even if you don't take Biz Open, but before you sign a lease, make sure you get this, sit down with the city development services, and you get their permission that you can open your business at that location. Next is big business advising. We have what we call the business coaching, normal business advising. We also have cooperative training and coaching. But with business advising, they're going to help you with your business plan, formulate ideas for your marketing plan. The great thing about our business coaching is they are micro lenders. If you're not familiar with micro lenders, they they issue capital to small businesses that typically will not be able to get funding from traditional sources like banks. So with our coachings, if you're looking to get capital, they can definitely help you put together a solid business plan and set you down with one of their loan advisors to secure that business capital. With cooperative is just another legal structure. So what do you need to operate a business in Texas? You need a legal structure. So we're familiar with sole proprietorships, partnerships, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, and this is just another legal structure. These classes and this training, this has been our most popular thing this year at Small Business. We would have never guessed it. It was a council directive a couple years ago to start cooperatives training, and now it's our most popular training and coaching sessions we have. I will tell you the one big difference you'll find in cooperatives that you don't see in LLC and sole proprietorships, it is a group collective. It is collective thought. So if me and Andrew started an LLC together, me and Andrew is going to make all the decisions. With the cooperatives, it's going to be everybody on this call, 17 of us, and we're going to make the decisions together. So it's a little different dynamic. Some people dig it, some people don't like it. So if it's something that you think you may like, the coaching, there's no charge to the coaching. The classes, I believe the classes are about $25 a piece. Next is research. So we're going to do research before we start our business to see how the industry is doing in Austin, see if our product's viable or services, if there's a need for what we're doing. And this A to Z database, it is free to you. If you are living in the city of Austin, you can access this database, no charge. With the library card, you can go to the Austin Public Library, go to databases, go to the business and nonprofit section, and you can access A to Z. You can bring up all the restaurants in Austin. You can bring up restaurants by zip code. You can bring up restaurants with a radius around a certain address. You can see how many employees are at a certain restaurant. So if you're looking at a certain restaurant, you can see how many employees they have at that restaurant, what's their revenue trends have been. And you can look at, revenue for a zip code. So you can see where most of the restaurants are located. So if we just did restaurants in Austin, we can see where most of the restaurants are located by zip code, revenue trends. So it's a pretty powerful tool, and for being free, and you can access this with, like I said, no charge. Next is artist career training. This is a incubator accelerator for artists. So if there's are any artists here, I encourage you to look at joining the cohort for next year. The cohort for this year just kicked off. Week 1 was last week. So sorry about that, but they took 24 individuals here from Austin, a wide group of individuals. So if you're an artist, I encourage you to join. One way to get notifications on when a lot of these programs and projects are coming out is to sign up for our newsletter. So if you go to austonsmallbiz.org, you can sign up. One of the first captions there at the top will be sign up for the economic development newsletter. When you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get notification that the applications for artist career training or a class or something's coming out. So I encourage you to do that. You can stay connected to the small business community better like that. Next is market research tools. These tools we pay a premium for. These tools are no charge. If you come to us, sit down with our business coach, and you can get a lot of this at no charge. So first, let me run through these real quick. BizMiner. BizMiner is local financials for your industry. We can look up restaurants within Austin, and we can get financials. These reports would probably cost around $300. You can email us, and we can send you these reports no charge. With this report right here, with the BizMiner report, you're going to get balance sheet, profit and loss, and some of the financial ratios. This is a 5-year projection. I would not copy it verbatim on your business plan, but it can give you a good place to start, percentages, what you'll be looking at for your industry. Next is CoStar. So this goes back to commercial real estate property. If you're looking to open a physical location, don't know where to start, we can always start with CoStar and do some searches that way. CoStar is the parent company of LoopNet. So if you just get on your device right now and search up LoopNet, you can get on LoopNet no charge, and you can look up properties. CoStar has more property and more information than you would get from LoopNet. We can look at traffic counts, the real owners. So if you find a property and you want to know who really owns that property and you want to contact them, we can tell you that. If you're looking for properties under a certain square footage or a certain location, we can find that too. So very powerful tool. Next is iBizWorld. iBizWorld is more of a state report, and that is going to be the trends for the industry for you. So you can email us your industry, and we can send you an iBiz report, and it would be the restaurant trends for Texas. We can't get into cities, but it will just say for Texas, the restaurants look like they're trending this way. These are the major players. These are the numbers. So it's a great information source and a great way to solidify your business plan. If you haven't done the business plan yet, you can look at doing that. The next is Size Up Austin. Size Up Austin is a tool that is on our website, and it is also on the Austin Public Library website. No charge to use this one. This one you can do some benchmarking. If you're not familiar with benchmarking is if you started or if you haven't started, you can put hypothetical numbers or real numbers in there, financial numbers, and you can look to see how you're doing against the industry. If you know your customer, you can see where you can spend your advertising dollars, and it has some demographic information in there too. So this is one of our more popular softwares, and like I said, you can access this one from our website, austonsmallbiz.org, or you can go to the Austin Public Library. Next is classes. We partnered with the University of Texas Professional Education Center for many years to teach our business classes. This past year, we have a new provider. Distance Learning Media is our provider for business education classes. A lot of their instructors come from the University of Texas system. Classes are $25 for half-day classes, $45 for full-day classes. What you're paying for is a wealth of knowledge from these instructors. And also you're going to get a business skill certificate. You take 6 of these classes. So if you take half-day classes, $25, $150, you get a business skill certificate. It's a very nice certificate. It's got the city seal signed by the city leadership. Every quarter we will meet at City Hall and there will be a certificate presentation. It'll be, when I say city leadership, it'll either be like the city manager, the mayor, someone there, council members will come. It'll be a catered event. It's a great way to network, show off your business, what you've done, what you've learned. So if this interests you, look at taking some of these classes. Here's our big events. We have 5 big events. Our big event we just had last Friday was Women's Entrepreneurial Luncheon. I think we had over 100 folks, so that's a really big event. Our next big event is coming up in January. I know it seems pretty far off, but it's going to be here before you know it. It is the 3rd or 4th week in January. We haven't nailed that down yet, and that is, and we created that because there's always demand to start businesses at the beginning of the year. It's kind of like a New Year's resolution. You know, people want to go to the gym. Well, I'm going to start that business right now. Right. And so we see classes, people want to know about starting a business, what they need to do. So in this small business fundamentals week, there's going to be opportunities to sit down with attorneys, sit down with CPAs, sit down with nonprofit coaches. If you want to sit down with someone about permitting and zoning, there'll be an opportunity for that. There'll be some classes, there'll be about 20 classes and all that. So if you feel like you want to sit down with someone, talk, or if you just want to attend some classes, all these classes are going to be no charge, then take advantage of that. Some more resources. So the Austin Public Library, I love our library. And I will say that they have a lot of databases. If you're on the Google right now, you can go Google Austin Library Databases, and you'll see they have hundreds of databases. On the left side, when you bring it up, you can look up business and nonprofits, and that'll be all the business and nonprofits software databases that can help you in your business. Now they have just added about a dozen here in the last couple of weeks, so I need to go back and review some of them. A to Z is on there, A to Z database, the one we mentioned earlier. Austin Business Journal is on there. So if you like the Austin Business Journal and you don't want to pay for it anymore, or you just want to get the digital copy, you can do that. If your business does B2B, business to business, and you're looking for maybe contractors or real estate agents, or they have the Austin Book List. If you're not familiar with the Book List, it has a list of the top people in industries, and it's very interesting. It also has a SOS platform. SOS is how you form your LLC in Texas. It has Texas legal forms. If you need any kind of legal form in Texas, take a look at this. Legal costs can be expensive. You can go in there and it's a very easy to use. You can search up a legal form. You can have an attorney review it after you fill it out. That can save you a lot of money. Next is circular economy. Circular economy is just saying we're trying to go to zero waste by 2040. This is maintained and facilitated by Austin Resource Recovery. If you want to see what you can do in your industry, definitely connect with Austin Resource Recovery. Small Business Resource Directory is the directory we created about 12 years ago. When we created it, it was a council directive, and we created a paper copy. Then we thought we got high tech and made it a PDF, and now it is living on our website. So it's a kind of interactive. You can look at locations like local, state, or federal, and there's about 13 small business categories for assistance that you can select. So if you're looking up local coaching, you can see all the local business coaches, local funding, local nonprofit assistance. And I will say that all the organizations within the resource directory are either one nonprofit or two government agencies. So we're not putting private entities in there. It's a little different flavor. So just be aware of that. Small business preparedness. The first 3 words there, I would say if you're doing a business plan or already done a business plan and you're already doing business, just think about small business continuity planning. If something happens to you, the CEO, what happens to the daily operations? Are you just going to stop operations? Are you going to let your brother-in-law start doing it? Just think about business continuity planning. Community navigators, this is one-on-one coaching, business classes. This is administered by Economic Growth Business Incubator. If you're looking for business classes, one-on-one counseling, coaching, or you're looking for a grant, maybe some resources, you can look up EGBI, Economic Growth Business Incubator, EGBI, and they can assist you with that. The city does have business loans. The first one there is family business loan. This one is for existing businesses. So if you're an existing business, I believe 2 years, and you have revenue to show for, then you can, maybe this loan is for you. If you know someone that would be interested in this, they can definitely reach out to me and I can connect them with the loan officer. But the goal of the family business loan program is to create jobs. So for every $36,000 that is borrowed, you're obligated to create 1 full-time employee. Any veterans here? It's a quiet
Here.
bunch.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. All right. We need some
Yep.
people to take on this Veterans Business Loan Initiative. I'm talking to you, soldier, airman. But for real, we have not had anyone take on this Veterans Business Loan Initiative. I think it's a great microloan because not only does it provide funding for existing businesses, this is great startup capital too. Unlike the Family Business Loan Program, you do not have to create jobs. You do not have to have an existing business. You can have an idea, you can be a startup and get that Veterans Business Loan Initiative. If this interests you, I'll drop my email in the chat here in a little bit and you can email me and I'll connect you with the loan officer, okay?
We actually have it in the chat right now, Danny.
All right. Thank you.
We're on top of it. We got
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, so that's our services. And a lot of this, like everything in life, it's going to be relationship based, right? So if you come to our coaching and you say, you know what, I like your coaching, but I want to go somewhere else, I want a second opinion, that's great. I encourage that. There's a lot of business coaches here. I'll go over some more. If you go to our funding and you say, you know what, I like the loan, but I want to check out some other rates. I want to go somewhere else. I want to go to Andrew, I want to go to his bank, see what he's saying. I encourage that. You know, you got to do what's best for you and your business. We do have a business plan class. Business plan is going to be your roadmap to success. So if you started a business or if you haven't and you're thinking about it, we always encourage you to do a business plan. If you look at templates for the business plan, there's a website I always encourage people to look at. It's called bplans.com. If you go to bplans.com, you'll see sample business plans in there. And sample business plans can intimidate a lot of people. They can be anywhere from 40, 50, 60 pages. They're pretty lengthy. But what we need to realize that for a new business or a business just started, your business plan doesn't need to be that long. You need to personalize it to what you're doing in your business. So if your business plan is 10 pages, 8 pages, and it covers everything you need, then that's what you need. A little bit about the business plan. Business plans, typically about 6 to 7 sections, depending on which business coach or counselor you're sitting down with. Market analysis, you know, your target customers, product or service, what's your value proposition. When we talk about value proposition, we want to create that win-win strategy. So customers getting that win because they get what they want. We get that win because we get a bigger bottom line. How do we create that? So we want to connect with potential customers before we start. Hey, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? We want to get their feedback before we do that. Marketing, sales, who are our customers and where do they hang out? This is going to be part of this is going to what we call the marketing plan within your business plan. Next is company and management description. Sometimes you'll see this broken up. Sometimes it'll just be company, and the next another section will be management description, but here we have it together. So this is just going to be everyone who has a leadership stake in the company, their background. Financial analysis, by far, the hardest part of any business plan is financial analysis. For a company that does not exist, we're asking you to project 5 years out financially. How can you do that? We have that business coach. We have business mentors. We have the business plan class, and we have Biz Minor. All those tools together, you're not going to fail with this business plan. Executive summary. No matter which business coach or mentor or who you sit down with, they're always going to have you write the executive summary last. But when you put your business plan together, this will be the first thing that appears. So we write it last, and it's the first thing that appears. How long is the business plan? Our business coaches say no more than a page. 2 paragraphs, no more than a page. What's in the executive summary? You're going to see that value proposition, what's your niche, what separates you, differentiates you from your competitors, a little bit about yourself. Maybe if you're asking for any kind of financial capital, you can include that in there too. Business development. I'll go over some of the other agencies now. Our business coaches that we have, they are People Fund. Another micro lender business coaching that is available in Austin is Big Austin, BIGAUSTIN. They offer micro lending and business coaching. There is also Economic Growth Business Incubator, EGBI. There is up in Dallas, there's one called Accion, ACCION. And a while back, they were offering money without a business plan. So I thought that was a very interesting take on business funding. Lift Fund, if there's any people that prefer Spanish, they are down in San Antonio. There's a new organization in town called Just. I don't know if anyone has heard of Just. They are a nonprofit, and they do lending to they do lending in a different way. They don't do so much on credit. If you need business lending, they'll do anywhere from $750 to $5,000. It's a different lending model where they meet on a weekly basis and they see how you're doing, and they do this the group meetings to help you achieve your goals. If you're up in Round Rock or San Marcos, there's a Texas State Small Business Development Center. They have business counselors and they have business classes. I would say the great thing about the Texas State Small Business Development Center classes is they offer QuickBooks. They offer a 4-part series. These classes are no charge. They also offer a class on getting your business on Google. I always tell in my regular BizA class, I always tell people to get your business on Google. When you think of your life, when you bring up a business like a restaurant or something like that, and you see their business on Google, they got pictures, that's what you want. There's no charge to do that. So I would encourage you to do that. They have a class on that, no charge. So take a look at that. And the last organization I'll mention is SCORE, SCORE, SCORE of Austin. They offer 2 great things. The first thing they offer is business mentors. Mentors are a little bit different from coaches. Coaches are typically going to help with your business plan. If they're micro lenders, they'll shuffle you down to the lending officer, but business plan and maybe a little marketing. Mentors, depending on who's in the network. So all these people for the mentors volunteer their time, and there's approximately 100 individuals that will volunteer their time. They will help you with what is available. So if there's CPAs, attorneys, CEOs, CFOs, social media experts, you can go in there, SCORE in Austin, and you can look at all the mentors that are available. You can connect directly with them, or you can just sign up and they can pair you up with someone. They also have business classes. One of the great classes I like to I tell my students when we have this class is on their recorded webinars. They have one that was done a couple years ago on determining your legal structure, the pros and cons of the different legal structures. So if you are looking to start and you don't know what legal structure you need, you can definitely look at taking that class. I will say that the starting of this year or last year, believe it, this year, the state of Texas has waived the legal or the fee for veterans to start an LLC or corporation. So that $300 fee, you can get that waived. I believe you have to go through the Texas Veterans Commission. There's some paperwork you need to fill out. I think they need your DD 214, and you can get that waived. So save someone $300, I know. Next is legal structure. So here's the popular ones. I got like a minute left, so I'm going to make it quick. 75% of business in America, they start off with sole proprietorship. Why? Because it's easy and you don't have to do anything every year. In Travis County, that's at 5501 Airport Boulevard. That's $24. It's good for 10 years. I don't have to do paperwork every year, keep strict books like I do for an LLC or corporation. Well, there's cons to that too. If somebody sues your business and you don't have enough money in your business, they're coming after your personal assets. So sole proprietorship, general partnership, LLC corporation is done with the Secretary of State's office. If you file that online, that's on a platform called SOS Direct. I think this is Mrs. Crayton's information. I won't steal her thunder. This may be some more her stuff, but I will say business taxes in the state of Texas are called sales and use tax. So let's say we started a LLC, now we need to apply to pay our business taxes. We do that with the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. They have a free application there. Unlike your income tax, we can pay our business taxes monthly, quarterly, or annually. It's up to you. You can change it after the first year, but you can see what best works out for you. IRS, every business is going to have what's called an employee identification number. Employee identification number is issued by the IRS. So when you get your LLC paperwork back, you can apply for your EIN. Certain businesses, certain occupations have a occupational license. That's with the Texas Department of License Regulation. This is nothing, and that's all I have. So that is all I have, and I'm going to stop my share, and I'll hand it back over to Andrew.
Okay, thank you so much, Danny. That was, I mean, I feel like I need to follow up with you to have a separate conversation. I mean, it really sounds like there's so many different resources that, you know, folks can take advantage of as they're getting started as a small business owner, or if they're already, you know, incorporated, or if they have like an LLC. Like there's so many resources to kind of help, you know, develop and grow their business and just kind of add to whatever it is that, you know, they're trying to accomplish. Danny, I do want to ask just one quick question before we jump into the next presentation. Is there, and just really quickly, is there, you know, one resource or tool that you would recommend? Because you shared a lot of different things that, you know, small business owners could take advantage of that's available on the city's website, but I'm not sure how many folks actually know and utilize those tools and resources. So is there something that one thing that you would recommend, you know, an individual getting started or already have a business? Is there something you would recommend that they utilize that's extremely helpful? Or does it just depend? It's a case by case scenario.
You know, I always recommend starting with the business plan, but if you're not going to do the business plan, I can't like twist your arm and make you do it right. You're just not going to do it. That's fine. Everyone's different, but you know, always encourage people to sit down with someone. Because a lot of times when we start a business, it's a business of one or maybe two. So depending on how you feel that day, everything's a great thought or everything's just a terrible thought. So sometimes sitting down with someone and expressing your ideas and having them give you feedback is a great way to get your business out there. Sit down with our business coach. That's the link to sign up for our business coach right there, peoplefund.org/intake. And there's no charge. If you live in Austin or surrounding Austin, you can sit down. If you find out that you want to sit with someone else, you can always reach out to me and I can connect you with someone else. But if I give you a list of 10 people, it's like going to a restaurant with the menu that's 30 pages. Like, where do I start? So start with this one, see what you think. If you don't like it, reach out and I can connect you with someone else.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so this is, just to recap, this is Mr. Danny Brewer. He is a business coach and a trainer with the City of Austin, Small Business Division. And he assists local entrepreneurs with gathering resources to successfully launch their business. And he has nearly 9 years of experience with local small business owners. So if you showed up a little late to the party, Mr. Brewer has a wealth of knowledge, and please feel free to reach out to him. I will definitely do that. Thank you so much. And at this time, we're going to transition over to Ms. Crayton. And I'm just going to reintroduce Ms. Crayton for the folks who showed up a little late. She used to lead the financial services help desk, which includes the city's vendor registration program. And I think Mr. Danny Brewer shared an example of that in his presentation. However, she recently joined the financial services department team and is doing she's doing great things over there. She has also worked for the City of Austin for nearly 17 years. So, Ms. Crayton, take it away.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm actually still with the Financial Services Help Desk. When I got moved, everyone got moved with me. So I'll take you guys through my presentation today. So I'm going to start going over how you register with the website, because I think that's an important part. You establish your business, you want to do business with the city, and getting registered is going to be your first step. And then I want to take a deep dive into where you find our solicitations and what you should be looking for in order to kind of build out your account and find more opportunities. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I've included this first part of my presentation in the chat if you want to download it. So if you haven't registered before, you can use that to kind of walk through the process. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen. Great, thanks, Andrew. All right, so first we're going to go over how to register with the city. And again, I really want us to take a look at some of the things on AFO, so I might be a little fast here. Y'all have been real quiet this evening, but feel free to stop me if you need to hear a little more or if you have any questions. The presentations are usually real interactive. All right, so this group is a part of financial services. And of course, financial services is responsible for issuing contracts and orders, making sure we pay all of our bills, which is why vendor registration kind of fits into that. We want to be able to give you guys those contracts and ultimately pay you. So, all right, so your first step to getting registered is to go to the city's financial website, Austin Finance Online. So Austin Finance Online is financial services website for the outside. So we try to shoot for as much transparency as possible. So in this site, you'll find information on the city's budget. In the checkbook, you can see who we've paid. You can even find me in there from some old tuition reimbursements I got. But under procurement is where you'll find information on contracts and solicitations. So you can kind of do research in those things. So now sometimes people get started with the registration and then something happens. They get interrupted or they have an emergency, who knows? the thing is, after you get to a certain point in the registration, usually once you've entered in your EIN or your social security number, you won't be able to create a different account. So you can only have one account per tax ID. So if you think that it's possible that you already registered, then you want to go ahead and search to see if you're already there. So under procurement, you would go to vendors and then searches. And from there, you can search by business name to see if your company is already there. So in this case, I searched for the city of Austin and it's there. So I would hit sign in to try to sign in. Now, if you're terrible like I am, maybe 5 years ago, you had a certain username password combination you use, and you could try that out and see if it worked. But if you're not sure, don't try to guess because you'll just get very frustrated. Just give my team a call and we'll help you figure out if you're there and what your login is and help you get in. All right, so if you're not registered, then you would just hit create account and that would let you go in and create a user account. So this is very basic. It's just your name, email, you'll create a username and a password, and you can provide your phone number if you want. Now, this is a step that a lot of people get confused on. So once you create that user account, it'll take you to your user dashboard. And it kind of looks like you're done at this point. I mean, over here in the corner, you see your username, you see the vendor code that it's given you, but you're not done because we also use these accounts for our hotel customers who are paying their taxes and license fees. So you actually have to go and click start here in the vendor registration section to keep going. So that's important to remember. If you're ever trying to work with someone and you're telling them that you're registered and they can't find you, give them this number and ask them to look it up under that. It's this number that starts with a V. And if they can't find that, then again, call my office and we'll help you figure out where you are in the process. So once you click start here, it's going to take you to business information. So it's a little small here, but that first field is business structure. Sometimes people look at this section and get a little confused or overwhelmed. Definitely choose your business structure first, because that will remove fields that don't apply to you. So then you'll only have things that go with your particular business structure. And this is just asking for the name of your business. If you're a sole proprietor, you'll enter your name, then your tax ID, and your W-9 you'll upload. It also asks for your gender and ethnicity, and that's important if you're going to become certified, which you definitely should if you're not already. I'll go over some reasons why that's important later. And also there's a whole session on it tomorrow, so make sure you're going to take that. Now that W-9 is another place where people get hung up. So the current document is about 6 pages and only a half a page of it is fields that you actually have to enter data into. So I know a lot of organizations, how do I put this? They're less exacting in the requirements than we are, but that's because a little bit before I started with financial services, the city got a lot of fines for not getting correct W-9s. So we don't want to waste money on things like that. I mean, who does? Even as a person, I don't want to pay the IRS extra. So we have to make sure that these are correct. So to help people kind of understand that, we created this chart. And again, this is in that PDF that I gave you. And this chart goes over what should be in each field based on your business structure. So you would just find your business structure, and then you can go through each line and say what you need to enter. Now we took this information straight from the W-9 instructions. So if you feel it's not correct, you kind of need to point to the instructions where it's not correct, because just me, it's correct. I've read that thing so many times, mostly so that you don't have to. So you'll fill out your W-9 according to the instructions. You can use this chart, and then you can upload it to your registration. That is a requirement in order to get the registration approved. So if you're not able to upload it at the time, you can also email it to us and we'll attach it for you later. Oh, I don't know who put these transitions in there, but there they are. So next you'll have to add addresses, and this is pretty basic. You'll add a sales address and a payment address. If you only have one address, then you can kind of add them both at the same times. Your sales address will be used for like purchase orders or the address that's listed on contracts. And then your payment address will be where payments are sent to. We also have the option to pay electronically, but that has to be done separately. You'll have to work directly with our team, and that gets heavily vetted to make sure that when we issue those payments, they're going to the correct place. All right, so once your addresses are in, that's when you'll start to add codes that identify your business. So the first one you're going to add will be NAICS codes. So these are industry codes. So they describe the type of industry that your business is in. They're pretty general. Yeah, and you'll find these, you can do a keyword search, or as it says on the screen, you can look at your 1040 if you've submitted one before. And if you have questions on these, you can also call my team at that number that's on the first page or slide, and we'll help you look for these. So likewise, we'll do the same with the commodity codes. So these are the NIGP commodity codes. They're the same that's been used by the state and other governments. So for instance, if you're HUB certified, you would use the same codes used with that here. Yeah, so again, in here, you can do keyword searches, you can search by specific numbers, you can also do a drill down to find codes. Now, codes are really important because these particular codes, the commodity codes, are what we use to send you solicitation notifications. So you'll want to make sure that you're adding everything you're interested in so that we can send you those and you can respond with your bids and proposals. So with commodity codes, you really want to consider what you can provide or also what you can subcontract for. So again, think carefully about those keywords. And this is basically what I just said. Again, you're looking at key terms and whether or not things are goods or services. So once you get through those commodities, then you can verify and submit your registration. Now, this is another tricky piece because if you looked earlier in the presentation, I talked about how you had to upload a W-9. If you haven't, then it won't give you the option to click that you agree and to submit. So if you get to that point and you're not sure what's wrong, again, you can call my team or there will be a message at the top of the page telling you which parts you're missing. So you can follow those steps and complete those, and then I'll let you submit. And once you submit, it comes to our queue for approval. And we usually approve those within one business day, usually within 2 or 3 hours. If we're not able to approve it, then we'll contact you to kind of work with you on what needs to be done. All right, and then there's our contact info again. So this is only the first part of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I find a lot of people get registered and then it's like, okay, what now? So I want to talk a little bit about the what now. So let's go ahead and look at our website again. So I kind of spoke to adding commodity codes, but I feel like when you're new, you're kind of just guessing what it looks like you can provide based on those keywords. And so you may miss some things that you actually can do, or you may not. You may have gotten everything you felt like you can do, but you don't know which codes the city's going to use to look for those things. So I think when you're first starting out, it's important to come to the website, go under procurement and then solicitations, and actually look at the active solicitations at least once a week. Now, most new solicitations come out on Monday, but they can come out through the week. So I think once a week is probably good, but if you wanted to do it more, I wouldn't stop or blame you. All right, so as small businesses, one thing I want to point out to you are solicitations called RFQs or IFQs. So these are the solicitations that are for contracts or orders that will be for less than 50,000. So both of those work in that way. There's two differences between them, and I hope they talk about this on the Wednesday session, so I hope y'all go to that. The RFQ is a request for quote. The IFQ is an invitation for quote. And one reason why it's important to get certified is that the IFQ starts out only soliciting certified vendors. So that means if you're certified, you're going to get that notice first. You'll be able to, submit your response first before they give it to the wider vendor community. Now, with that being said, you need to make sure that your email is up to date in our system always. Like if you're just starting out getting registered, it should be good now, but as time goes on, you'll need to follow up and make sure that it's good. You also need to make sure that you set up the city of Austin or that austintexas.gov that's in that presentation as a safe sender in your email, because I do get calls from people, kind of heartbreaking calls sometimes, where they missed out on a solicitation because they didn't receive the email because it went to their junk or their spam and they just never got it. So I want y'all to get the email. So make sure you keep that up to date and make sure that you're able to get all the emails we send you. All right, so once the IFQs show up on this site, then they're available to everyone. That's the other thing. Anyone can see them. Now, what I want y'all to be aware of when you're coming here is kind of take a look and see if anything can apply to you. And if it can, then you want to open it up. And you'll go to the bottom of the page and you'll be able to see what commodities were used. Because you want to find out, why. If you didn't get notified, you want to know why. So you may want to check if you have that commodity code, reach out to my office and find out what happened, why you didn't receive the email. Or if you don't have it, then okay, this is a code I need to add for next time. And also, since you're actively coming to the site, you won't miss out on the solicitation because you were able to see that it was there. And you'll be prepared for next time, but you'll also be able to submit your response this time. So the other thing you want to check in here is there are some solicitations that are huge. They're giant. So there's the plan that the prime contractor will definitely have subcontractors. Now they'll notify all of the prime contractors or the vendors that may become prime contractors of the solicitation, but they don't always notify all of the subcontractors listed. So let me pull up one of those. Okay. So in this one, when we go down to that commodity section, we can see that this associated commodity, that's the one that they used for their prime contractors, which I don't know, seems a little vague, but that's what they chose. And then everything under trade summary are all of the subcontracting opportunities that they think there are. So with this, you can look at these opportunities and see if there's anything that you can provide. And this is good for a couple of reasons. One, when you look at this, you can go back up and find out when the pre-bid or pre-solicitation meeting will be. So this one will be next week on November 2nd. And if you go to that, then you'll find out who is planning to submit a response. And you'll know who you need to reach out to maybe get one of those subcontracting opportunities. Because in the solicitation packet, they're given a list of available certified vendors, and they're supposed to reach out to all of them, and hopefully they do. But sometimes, those vendors aren't able to provide a service. So if you're not certified yet, then one, get certified so you can be on that list. But two, you can still reach out to those potential primes and submit your own response to be a part of the team that gets this contract. Now, to be a subcontractor, you do have to be a registered vendor. So again, that's always the first step, but this can kind of help you kind of get ahead of things, because the other side of it is they have to and this, I guess, is if you're not certified, or maybe you're not certified in the specific code they need, you're certified in something else. They have to contact the certified vendors, but to my knowledge, there's no rules on who else they contact. So beyond those, you can reach out and be who they contact, if that makes sense. All right. So I think those are the main things I wanted to talk about. Like, looking at the solicitations can help you build out your commodity codes, but they can also ensure that you don't miss any opportunities that there are. All right. Are there any questions on any of that?
I don't have a question, Reve, but you brought up the prime and subcontractor conversation that I'm definitely going to dive into Wednesday.
Okay.
Because it is, anyway, I don't want to bring up a lot of terms here, but yeah, that's really the biggest, first of all, getting in the flow of reading solicitations, getting a rhythm to that, and then meeting the primes and figuring out that whole dance. Yeah, we'll definitely tackle Wednesday, but thank you for the introduction to that.
No problem.
Awesome. Yeah. And that was definitely helpful. And I'm not sure if there's any follow-up questions regarding the registration process to become a registered vendor, and the registration process as it relates to like officially certifying your business through the city, and retrieving an actual EIN, because those are all different. And when it comes to establishing an actual business bank account, we actually check for that. And so, are there any questions about that? Because I know that was extremely loaded. And so I've gone through that, that registration process as a new small business owner, and actually a new resident of Texas. And it was a little bit confusing at one point, but once I figured it out, it was a little bit more easier to navigate. But thank you. I don't know if there's any other questions. I just also want to thank you for bringing that up, because I know that I see that a lot in the the banking industry. A lot of folks not being able to really distinguish between the different registration processes.
Reve, real quick, what's your take on NACIS and commodity codes? They're not the same. Maybe, yeah. So should someone just spray and pray? In other words, just click all the codes and put everything just to get a solicitation, just to be in the loop of everything? Or how detailed should one get even if you might not know the NACIS or commodity code game?
Yeah. So for the NAICS codes, those are our industry codes. So right now, how do I put this? If I step back, so the city certifies and we solicit with the NIGP commodity code. So those are the second type, and those are very, very specific. And so it leads to accidentally not having the right code to be notified and things like that. So at some point in the future that we're working on with law and council and all those groups, we hope to solicit on the NAICS codes, which are more general. So everyone in the industry would get notified, and we could make sure that everyone found out about things. So that's part of why the NAICS codes are a part of the registration, and so that we can prepare for that and have everyone's information. For now, so with the NAICS, you want to have your specific industries. With the commodity codes, those NIGP codes, you do want to add as much as you want to be notified on, because you will receive a lot of emails because we want to make sure that you know about every solicitation notification in that group and you know if the solicitation changes. Um, so how do I put it? I always tell people to add as much as they can, especially in the beginning, because you can always go back later and remove them. But some people don't like all the emails. So I think you should add everything and then edit afterwards personally, especially if you're trying to get the business and you don't want to miss out on anything.
Process of elimination. Do y'all, and this might be a part of the solution conversation, but have there been any NACE code workshops, or like how could we educate people more about, like, first of all, what that means, where they could get their industry codes, and then how they can really apply that knowledge to the vendor registration portal, so they're not, you know, just white noise and then they kind of scale it down, which is great, but you know, we should probably have a workshop.
Yes, definitely. And I know that the Small Minority Business Resource Department, who will be presenting tomorrow, they do use NAICS codes in their certification. So having a workshop would be great. And I think we would want to partner with them because they are more knowledgeable on them.
And I can kind of, and just to elaborate on that a little bit more. And then we also have a question in the chat. So for banking purposes, that NAICS code needs to identify with what you say you're doing as a business. And so if you are establishing a business in the state of Texas and you're registering with or certifying with the the city of Austin, or the state of Texas, your NAICS code needs to, so if you say you're doing real estate, but then your business activity and you're opening up a bank account and you're classifying yourself as selling, I don't know, dinners or something like that. You're a restaurant, but you're registered as a real estate company, then there may be some discrepancies there. And so your business bank account may be liable to be investigated. And so it's extremely important from the banking side of things. I'm not sure how it was done at PNC or Wells Fargo, but I'm pretty sure if you're going to classify your business as a real estate company, you need to be doing business as a real estate company, and your accounting or business activity should show that. And in a case where you're opening up a business bank account for the first time, because you've been doing business as a so like as an individual, and you really haven't registered your business because you've been operating as an individual, then that's where it comes into question how you do your taxes. And so your business taxes is going to look pretty interesting, I would say, because you've been doing business and you've been reporting under your social security number because you haven't properly classified your business. And that NAICS code, the North American, I think it's the North American Industry Classification System, like we use that to report to the IRS. And yes, there definitely should be some training around that, because not everyone knows how important that is and the difference between your NAICS code and the commodities code.
I didn't realize all of that, Andrew, so it's good to know.
Yeah, it's it's very interesting because we actually take the classification, the active status, off of the Secretary of State website. So if a person wants to open up a business bank account, we can't open it up because they aren't officially registered with the city. So and it's used for mainly tax reporting purposes. And some folks never register their business officially, and they just use their, their individual account the entire time until they're, ready to transition into, structuring as an LLC or sole prop. And I think the question in the chat may be related to that. And I'm not sure if you can answer this.
I think I can.
Okay.
So the question was if you've registered in the past as an individual or sole proprietor, do you need to register again if we have another business? So this depends. If your other business has a different tax ID, then you would need to register that other business. If it doesn't, you would just reach out to my team and we could update your existing account. We do have some like sole proprietorships that have two separate businesses under the one owner, and we set those up in our system. So
Is it Simone? Is Simone still here? Don't see. Oh yeah.
oh, she said thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Great question, by the way. Danny, did you want to add anything to that? If that aligns with some of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, we're not as involved in the NICS codes as maybe you are, Andrew, or Reve. We can definitely show people like on their website the NICS, how to find their code and what it's used for, but I think it's more in y'all's realm. So, but yeah, it is used a lot, like y'all would say.
Great question, by the way. And because I do a lot of account opening for small business owners, and if you wanted to subcontract with the city, you actually have to go through the vendor registration process, even as a independent contractor. And you can create an EIN number through the IRS website as as an independent contractor and utilize that to subcontract with the city, or you can just use your social security number. But they'll also ask you those questions about, your NAICS code, because you have to, classify as far as like what you're doing. And if I'm registering as an individual, I'm just doing, subcontracting as as an individual, but I also have to say, okay, if I'm going to be using my social, then if I'm subcontracting out, what am I actually going to be doing business wise as as an individual? And in my case, I was just doing, consulting. I think that's the general rule of thumb, consulting. Any other questions? And by the way, sorry, I have a lot to say about this. If you do go into the bank, and if for some reason the NAICS code is incorrect, they may ask you to come back and change it. And for any of you on this call, if you ever have any questions about selecting the correct NAICS code or commodities code, I'll share my contact information. I'm more than happy to consult and just, do either a workshop or a session independently and share how, to go about classifying correctly, because that is extremely important. And I think as a Black small business owner, that was something that I didn't know until I actually started doing business and working in this industry. I didn't understand how important that was when it came to registering my business, but also doing business as a subcontractor or independent contractor. Okay, no other questions? Anyone? There was a wealth of knowledge shared. If there's no other questions for our presenters, I'll go ahead and ask a few questions to Reve. So are there any, specific resources? And this is similar to the question that I asked Danny. Are there specific resources that you would recommend to an individual that's getting started as a small business owner, or if they're already established and they're looking to just take advantage of some of the things that you all offer? What would be something you would recommend initially?
I think one thing I would recommend is to spend some time on the Austin Financial 9 site, because there is just so much information there. So you can look and see all of the current contracts that we have. And based on that, you can see when they'll expire, and that'll give you an idea of when they will be solicited again. You can also look at our past solicitations and see what we've looked for before. And the reason why that's good is because we are a public entity. So a lot of that information, if it's not already on the website, you can do an open records request and you can get information on what responses were submitted to those past solicitations. And when it's solicited again, that'll give you an idea of what people, put in as their bids the last time. So you can have an idea of what you're going to do on your solicitation response. And also, it's not my group, but if you're not certified, get certified. And if you're brand new, go through the city certification, and then you'll automatically get Hub certified if you qualify.
Do you mind sharing, and I'm not sure if you can pull up the actual website as far as how to go about getting certified and what that actually means for a small business owner or just a business owner in general?
So I think that's what tomorrow's session is about.
Okay.
Yeah. So go to that when the experts will be there. I'm like adjacent. They're in a whole other department and they're great. So.
Okay, will do. So come to the session tomorrow.
Yes.
We don't want to give it away.
I just don't want to say anything wrong about it. So.
Good answer. Okay, Tyra, do you have any questions that we would want to ask our presenters? I mean, I have a ton, but I don't want to take up too much space.
Yeah, I did. I guess one more question. As far as the Black community, Black small business owners, we know that there are disparities there. We've gone back into the shadows. Maybe we never left. But what would be a good shot in the dark as far as getting more Black business owners into the spaces where they can get education? If they can't show up virtually, if they can't go to your in person, what do we think it is? Could it be the messaging just isn't landing right, or the outreach needs to be tweaked? Or what are y'all seeing as far as data is concerned with Black business owners?
So I don't have the data exactly, but I do agree probably that the messaging isn't right. And I also feel like in a lot of ways we're wanting people to come to us instead of going out to them. So I know that there are a lot of Black business groups that we could be reaching out to and connecting with that way instead of just casting kind of a net in the dark, which is what I feel like we do sometimes.
Yeah, I don't have the data, Tyra, but I know when we did our, we do a needs assessment for our small business division about every 5 years. And in that needs assessment, it's sort of like our compass of what the community is asking for, what they're looking for small business. And I know in our last needs assessment, you know, when we sent out the assessment, maybe it didn't reach all of the community that we wanted it to reach. And so, yeah, there's definitely, we have to do a better job of reaching the people we want to reach. We see that, and that's what, you know, we're doing. That's what, you know, we want to do here. We want to reach the community that we want to reach. So it's like our business classes right now. Our business classes, we're trying to get more people in there. Attendance is not where we want it. So the marketing, what is it that people do not want to attend the class? Is it the price? Is it the time? Is it the title? Is it the subject? So we got to find out, just like that in the marketing, we got to find out, where are we marketing to? Where do we need to market to? Who do we need to connect with? So yeah, anything, any places y'all have that we can market to, any places we can connect, we greatly appreciate it. We are, you know, we try to send our market message out. You know, we try to give out free. I prefer no charge to our communities. And whether it's coaching, mentoring classes, that's what we want to do, and we want to make sure that they get the message out. And so, a lot of times, you know, we put it out, and we've been doing it for so long. We put it out in, you know, networks that we know, and there's other networks that come up and we don't know about. So we need to make sure we get the message everywhere. So appreciate any support or any place that y'all want to get the message out. So thank you.
Awesome.
And-
Again, Bree said schools.
Yeah.
That's
I was
great.
gonna say
I have one more
yeah.
question too, if you don't mind, Andrew. For
go
SCORE,
right
I know
ahead.
both of y'all are aware of SCORE mentors. How does one become like a mentor in that? Because I've gone through SCORE, and what I noticed, I could be an island here, but there wasn't a lot of representation. I came across predominantly white males, and that's just the transparent truth. So as a Black woman, there was some gaps and maybe, you know, just some of the language and the advice that I needed. So of course that might not matter, but anybody could help anybody. If you're in business, you know the way. But I do want to see, like, if y'all know how to become a mentor, so we can diversify the SCORE mentor platform. Y'all might not know, but I'm just throwing questions.
Yeah, you can go on their website and sign up. Let me see if I have it on here. I was going to share a screen, but I don't see it. When you sign up on SCORE, or just go to their website. I was trying to see if I have it. Here it is. So you can find a mentor, and you can actually volunteer to become a mentor on here. Let's see.
I think it's at the top of the page.
Let's see. Can see this one. Volunteer. It's get involved, volunteer. Yeah, so you can volunteer right here. And you can apply to become a business mentor right here.
That's so good. Thank you so much. Yeah, I
And
completely missed
if you, I believe this is the Austin location. Let me see. Let me make sure. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look familiar. Austin has a certain look to it. And here we go. Austin SCORE. Yeah, it was a little different. So with this one, we can go down and we can see all the mentors. And obviously, we want to get mentors that look familiar. And let's see, if we click on this one, keep going past the first step. We go to find a mentor. If we just request a meeting, they're going to pair us up with someone. So what you do when you sign up, you'll request your industry and what you want to be counseled in, and they'll pair you up with someone that fits that, closest to that. If you come down here, you can maybe find someone, and you can just click on, let's say, Isaac, and you can connect straight with Isaac. So that's another way to do it.
So we need to encourage more volunteers.
Yes, yes. And I was thinking of, like, just what other, can we make another platform similar to SCORE for the BIPOC community? But it just looks like you just got to sign up. So
Mhm. Yeah, I encourage everyone to sign up for newsletters, even if you're not going to use the services like Score, Big Austin, People Fund, Texas State Small Business Development Center. For instance, I believe last year People Fund had a BIPOC accelerator. That was just, I wouldn't say off the cuff, but it's just something they created that year. And so if you're not signed up for these newsletters, you may not catch wind of it. So if you have time, try to look at sign up some of these newsletters.
Awesome. So there's been quite a bit of conversation in the chat. It's mainly focused on, outreach in the schools, trying to get some of our youth involved. I guess I'm curious to just hear from you all's perspective. Is there any efforts or anything happening within like your office or within like just the folks that you all report to? Is there a conversation happening as far as like trying to connect with the next generation of leaders to try and introduce some of these resources to them by way of, UT, Houston Tilston, some of the high schools? Is that something that's happening, or have anyone ever, approached introducing this material to our next generation, our youth?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. We continually look for ways to do this. A couple years ago, I think this was pre-COVID, we had an incubator space at HT. We were programming up there. We still have the space. We're looking to see what we can do there. So that's at HT. I know some high schools here locally have entrepreneurs program. We have made presentations at some of the local high schools. So we look for opportunities to go to our schools and present this information. So yeah, our space is still up at HT. We're looking, we had a program that we were going to do there. The program, I think a good word, got cashiered. So the program's not there, but we still have the space. So now we're looking to see what we can do to revitalize that space and use that program. It's over there by Springdale. And so, but yeah, we went to high schools and great receptions at high schools. So yeah, we'll probably continue to do that. And I'm one of the few people that do go out to the high schools. I go to the high schools, I go to HT. And so, yeah, it's great to see their feedback when we go.
Yeah, so financial services doesn't have any programs or outreach of that nature yet. I know there have been some departments who put out programs or solicitations of sorts for younger members of the community to come in and get business. And then they did end up having to have their parents register to be vendors so that they could receive their payments.
Yeah, I think that would be a great place to start. There are lots of young entrepreneurs. I believe since 2020 or 2019, there's been more influencers and entrepreneurs from our younger generation that have come online more than ever before. I mean, it seemed like, and I think that would be a great place to start any sort of outreach business-wise, especially working with the city of Austin and trying to create more opportunities and bring on more Black-owned businesses, and doing that the right way. I think that would be extremely helpful for our youth. Okay, any other questions from our audience? I've seen some conversation happening in the chat. Are there any questions that you all would like to ask, either by using the chat or if you want to turn on the or if you want to just, say it out loud, feel free.
I think Erica had a couple for Danny.
Okay.
So the first one, she was talking about how she works during the day, so it's difficult to attend workshops that are during the day. And then the next one was about getting the fee waived for by the Secretary of State.
All right, let me see if I can bring up my website. So this is the Texas Veterans Commission. This is where you'll get your $300 fee waived if you're a veteran. Now, let me see. I'm on 5G and it looks like I'm running off dial-up, so I understand. Y'all hang in there with me. Pre-qualification process. So it's January 2022 through December. So it's there's the qualification process right there. I'm not going to download it and bore everyone with the details, but this is where you would want to go. So where I went on Google is I went to Texas Veterans Commission. And from there, I just went to entrepreneurial, scroll down, and it'll show you that guide. Okay, so that's how you do that. And also, if you don't have time to attend the, like if you work, we hear this a lot, people work and they cannot attend classes because of the timing. Maybe look at some of these ones from like SCORE that are on demand. If we went to go take a workshop, we can go over here to the recorded webinars and we can type in topics. I think I was saying earlier, one of the popular ones that I always recommend, I know it's a couple years old, but it's still good information, is the legal structure. And there's a couple here. So this one right here, pros and cons and determine your legal structure. So you can do that. On our website, we're about to put up some classes from UT. That will cost money. Definitely take some of our classes, but this is a great way to do it. I know a couple years ago, someone in the fashion industry had a question of what can they trademark, what they can, if they're selling something that looks like Gucci, can they sell it? What can they not do? So we went in here and found a recorded webinar on trademark items for fashion. So it was really cool.
Any other questions? Any other thoughts, Tyra, or questions?
Not currently. Still kind of racking my brain, but so far everything's been answered very well. And once again, appreciate you, Reve, Danny, Reve. Y'all have been amazing.
Well, okay, I guess, those are all the questions that I have tonight. And it seemed like our audience is satisfied with the information that's shared. This session is recorded. And so I'm not sure if we're going to share that. Are we going to share that out, Tyra?
Yes, as long as, and I'll put the link here. You all have registered for the session today. You will get a playback of the Zoom link. Registering for the session allows us to get you all's email. So let me put this here. And so you would just find the session time or day and time on Eventbrite, go to that session, put your information in, and then we'll be able to send you the Zoom recording from tonight.
Well, can we just give our presenters a warm round of applause, and feel free to use the Zoom features. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And please feel free to join the rest of our sessions this week. Quick plug. So tomorrow we have another session on how to certify your business with the City of Austin. And our facilitator will be Bill Wallace. And on the 26th, we will have another session entitled Who Decides Who Gets City Dollars and How Can I Be Down? And our final, actually, that is our final session. So we'll be ending our summit with our last session happening on the 26th from 6 to 8. And that will be virtual as well. Yes, that will be virtual as well. You can find all that information on Eventbrite. Thank you all so much for attending tonight. Again, thank you, Danny. Thank you, Reve. I will definitely be reaching out to you both. And the session notes will also be shared. As far as like the transcription with all the links, we'll also share that out to anyone who registered. And that's it. That's all we have tonight. Thank you all, and see y'all at the next session tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
all.
Andrew.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyra. Good job, Reve.
Have a good night. Hey, Danny, quick question before
Sure.
you take off. Are you available to have a quick conversation sometime next week?
Sure.
Either Tuesday or Wednesday. I can send you over an email as well.
Yeah, Tuesday usually works. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I think the presentation that you gave was extremely informative, and there was so many things that I come across on the website that you mentioned that I'm interested in just kind of following up on.
Mm-hmm. If it's Tuesday after lunch, if it's Wednesday, it's anytime.
Okay, will do. Will
Okay.
do. Thank you. And
All right.
did you record the session or?
I think Tyra did.
Okay. All right. Okay,
All
well,
right.
have a good night.
All right. Take care.
Fantastic. You have a great night. Thank you.
All right. See ya.